Dear students, last class we discussed about different concentration terms. So how to express the concentration of solutions in different way. So today we are going to study two important solutions. One is standard solution, another one is working standard. So the word standard solution is common in the laboratory. So in 12th standard we are going to do volumetric analysis and salt analysis. So, in practicals, there will be a qualitative analysis and quantitative analysis. Qualitative analysis represents finding a cation as well as anion or finding a free radical like that. So, we will find the quality. And another one is quantitative analysis. We will measure how much weight of oxalic acid is present in the solution or how much amount of ferrous sulfate is present in the solution. So, quantitative analysis will be done in 12th practicals. It is called volumetric analysis. So, in that, often we use the word standard solution. Okay, so we need a standard solution to perform a quantitative analysis or volumetric analysis. So, standard solution means a solution with known concentration. So, 99.9 percentage accurate value. Okay, we cannot say 100 percentage perfect. There will be some errors. So, human errors will be there during the preparation of standard solution. So, standard solution is a solution with known concentration. So, to do volumetric analysis, we need a standard solution. From the standard solution, we will give solution to you in a particular concentration. Okay. So, preparing a solution with accurate concentration is called a standard solution. Next, how to prepare a standard solution in the laboratory? How to prepare a standard solution? First, we have to take a solute. For preparing solution, we need a solute as well as a solvent. So first, we have to take a solute, and it should be in a perfect amount. Okay, there should not be error in measuring the mass of solute. 5 gram of solute should be taken, means it should be exactly 5 gram. Okay, there should not be any error. So digital balance will be very helpful to take accurate amount of solute. So we will take known amount of solute. Known amount of solute will be added in a glass flask. Okay, we use different glass apparatus in laboratory. So this is called volumetric flask or standard flask or standardization flask. A glass flask will be available with a different capacities like 50 ml, 100 ml, 250 ml, 500 ml. So with a different volume, we have volumetric flasks. So a known amount of solute will be added in standardization flask. Then we are going to add solvent. So initially we won't add full amount of solvent. To dissolve the solute, a small amount of solvent will be added. For example, we are going to prepare 100 ml of standard solution, means with solute we will not directly add 100 ml of solvent. First 10 to 20 ml of solvent will be added to dissolve the solute. Okay, so first step, take known amount of solute in a volumetric flask, then small amount of water will be added to dissolve the solute, and the third step is remaining solvent molecules will be added. Okay, so like pipette, you have already seen pipette in 10th practicals. So in every glass apparatus there will be a mark. Burette is having 50 ml capacity, we have the mark 5 ml. For every 1 ml we have the mark. Like that in pipette also we have seen. In laboratory we use 20 ml pipette, there will be a mark which represents exactly 20 ml. So in the standard flask, until the solution reaches the mark, we have to add solvent. So first we add a solute. Second, small amount of solvent will be added to dissolve solute. Third step, remaining quantity of solvent will be added until the level of solution reaches the mark in the standard flask. After that, fourth step, the flask should be closed. So it should be stopped. Then we have to shake it well. Then only we will get a uniform solution. So all the particles will be distributed in an even manner. Okay, so this is the method of preparing a standard solution. We take an example. We are going to prepare one normal solution. Okay, so in the laboratory, we are going to prepare one normal sodium hydroxide solution. How can we prepare it? So we take 40 gram of sodium hydroxide because equivalent weight of sodium hydroxide is 40 gram. We already studied these basic concepts. What is molecular weight? From the molecular weight or molar mass, how to measure equivalent mass. All these we have completed. So normality will be considered in terms of gram equivalent. Okay, so 40 gram is the equivalent mass of sodium hydroxide. Exactly 40 gram of sodium hydroxide will be taken. We are going to prepare one normal solution. So 40 gram sodium hydroxide will be dissolved in 1 liter of water. So the concentration will be 1 normal. So we have to take a standard flask with the capacity 1 liter. So measure 40 gram of sodium hydroxide using a digital balance. Take the 40 gram of sodium hydroxide in a standard flask. With that, add some amount of solvent. For example, 200 ml. 200 ml water will be added and the sodium hydroxide will be dissolved. Next, remaining quantity of water, 800 ml. 200 ml is already added to dissolve sodium hydroxide. Remaining 800 ml water will be added until it reaches the level of solution reaches the mark in the flask. So now we have 1 liter standard flask containing 1 liter of solvent and 40 gram of solute. So now this is one normal solution. So we have prepared one normal standard solution in the laboratory, and this standard solution will be used for practicals. From the 1 liter of standard solution, I will give you 50 ml. So I will not give you direct one normal solution. I will give you in 0.5 normal or 0.1 normal. In different concentrations, I will give you the solution. So with the help of the given solution, you have to find how much amount of substance is present, what is the normality of this diluted solutions. All these informations you will study. So in 12th practicals, we will study all these in detail. First, you have to know what is solution. By adding solute and the solvent, we will get a solution. How to prepare a standard solution. So a standard solution is a solution with a known concentration. 99.9% accurate concentration. 100% accuracy is expected, but there will be some human errors. Okay, so for your practicals also, maximum 4 to 5% of errors are allowed. So solute will be added in a standardization flask, solvent will be added, and the solution will be made it as a standard solution. Okay. What is the another name of standard solution? The another name is stock solution. Okay, so this solution is maintained in the laboratory because for every practical we will give you diluted solution. If one normal sodium hydroxide solution is prepared, means for practicals held on Monday we may give 0.5 normal dilute sodium hydroxide solution. Tuesday for a next class we may give 0.1 normal sodium hydroxide solution. For Wednesday for another class we may give 0.75 normal solution. So from the standard solution 1 normal, for everyday practicals we may change the concentration by diluting the solution. So by taking standard volume. From the standard solution we will prepare dilute solutions. Okay, so dilute solutions are prepared from the stock solutions or standard solutions, and it is called working standard. So the dilute solution obtained from the standard solution is called working standard. Okay, the working standard will be given to you for analysis. Okay, we have a basic equation, and this will be useful to find concentration of a solution. So you have two solutions. Out of two solutions, the concentration of one solution is unknown. You can calculate it. The equation is CSVS is equal to CWVW. This represents concentration of standard solution. This is the volume of standard solution. This is the concentration of working standard. That means a dilute solution. This is the volume of working standard. Okay. What are the advantages of standard solutions? Usually, standard solution will be prepared in larger quantity. 1 liter, 5 liter, 10 liters, like that. In larger quantity, we will prepare standard solutions. So when we take a solute in larger quantity, error will be minimized. Okay. So instead of taking 5 gram, if 5 kilogram of solute is taken, means errors will be minimized. So this is the first advantage of standard solution. Second advantage is for preparing dilute solutions. That means for preparing working standard, stock solution is very important. Okay. Third one, concentration of solute will be more. Okay, for a working standard, concentration will be less. So when we take a standard solutions, concentration will be more, so that it has more stability. So the growth of microbials will be less in standard solutions. So these are all the advantages of standard solutions. Next, we have a solved problem. How will you prepare hydrochloric acid solution with the concentration 2.5 molar and its volume should be 500 ml? Okay, you are going to prepare 2.5 molar. Capital M is a symbol of molarity. Okay, so 2.5 molar hydrochloric acid solution is going to be prepared, and volume should be made as 500 ml. Okay, what is the given solution? The given solution is 4 molar hydrochloric acid and 2 molar hydrochloric acid. So two concentrated solutions are given. 4 molar is the concentrated one, 2 molar is the dilute one. Okay. So two solutions have given. From these two solutions, how will you prepare a new solution with the concentration 2.5 molar? Okay. Consider 4 molar hydrochloric acid solution. How much 4 molar hydrochloric acid solution is required to prepare 500 ml of 2.5 molar solution? We take it as X. We don't know how much 4 molar hydrochloric acid should be taken. We don't know. So that we take it as X. Totally how much volume of solution is going to be prepared? 500 ml. Totally we are going to prepare 500 ml. We don't know how much 4 molar HCl is taken. So 500 minus X. This will be the volume of 2 molar hydrochloric acid. So we are going to mix just two solutions, 4 molar HCl and 2 molar HCl. Volume of 4 molar HCl is taken as X. Total volume 500. So 500 minus X is the volume of 2 molar HCl. And we have basic equation to find the concentration. CS Vs is equal to CW VW, right? So with the help of that equation, we are going to find it. So we are going to add two solutions. Okay, 4 molar hydrochloric acid and 2 molar hydrochloric acid. So C1 is the concentration of 4 molar HCl. So concentration is 4. V1 is the volume of 4 molar hydrochloric acid. It is considered as X. Okay. Next, one more solution is there. Concentration of another solution is 2 molar. And how much volume of 2 molar hydrochloric acid is taken? 500 minus X. And which solution is going to be prepared? 2.5 molar HCl solution, and its volume should be made as 500. Okay, so from this you can calculate what is the X value. So X value is calculated as 125 ml. So we need 125 ml of 4 molar hydrochloric acid. So how much remaining? 500 minus 125. So 375 ml 2 molar hydrochloric acid is required. Okay. Next one, solubility of solutes. This you already studied in 10th standard. What is solubility? So this is an ability of a solute to dissolve in known amount of solvent at a particular temperature. So the same definition is repeated here also. The maximum amount of solute, that can be dissolved in specific amount of solvent at a specified temperature. We know that solubility is directly proportional to the temperature. Okay, so when maximum amount of solute is dissolved in a particular amount of solvent at a particular temperature, we will get a saturated solution. So three basic solutions are there: unsaturated, saturated, and a supersaturated. So after reaching saturation, again if you add a solute, it will not be dissolved, it will be settled at the bottom, and the solution will be called as supersaturated solution. So the definition of solubility can also be expressed as the amount of solute that can be dissolved in 100 gram of solvent at a particular temperature to form a saturated solution. Okay. Next, what are the factors which affects solubility? Nature of solute, nature of solvent, temperature, and pressure. So these are the 4 factors which influences solubility. Okay, first we take nature of solute and solvent. Always polar solute can be dissolved in polar solvent. So this is the basic principle in analytical chemistry. The selection of solute and solvent is an important one. Okay, a wrong selection of solute and solvent will make longer time in laboratory. If you are doing a chemical reaction, a proper solvent should be selected, otherwise the reaction time will be more. Okay, so always polar solute will be dissolved in polar solvent, because polar solvent will have the ability of separating polar solutes. Polar solutes will be separated into cation and anion. You take sodium chloride. So water is a polar solvent. It can separate Na plus and Cl minus from sodium chloride. So the selection of solute and solvent is an important one. And non-polar solute, organic compounds. So non-polar solutes can be dissolved in non-polar solvents like organic solvents. Okay, benzene, toluene, chloroform, carbon tetrachloride, ether, and so on. Next, what is the effect of temperature? So generally solubility increases with the increase of temperature. So in 10th standard we studied 36 gram is the solubility of sodium chloride in 100 gram of water at 25 degrees Celsius. When temperature changes, solubility value will be changed. So this is mainly due to the increase of kinetic energy of the molecules. So in solutions, the kinetic energy of solute molecule and the kinetic energy of solvent molecule will be increased when temperature is increased. Okay. So the average kinetic energy of a solute and a solvent will be increased. What happens due to this? The solvent will have the ability of breaking these solute molecules. So in between the solute molecules, there will be intermolecular force of attraction, or the solvent can break a solute into cation and anion, whatever it may be. So increase of temperature will increases the kinetic energy, the movement will be increased, and the solvent will have the ability of breaking the intermolecular forces between the solute particles. So that solubility is increased. To consider a solution in which a solute is involving dissolution process. Okay, so separation of solute is called a dissolution process. You take sodium chloride. When sodium chloride is added in water, it will be separated into Na plus and Cl minus. So the process is called a dissolution process. Okay. So there will be an equilibrium exist between the dissolved solute and undissolved solute. Okay. You simply take sodium chloride solution. When you add sodium chloride in water, some sodium chloride molecules will be separated into cation and anions. They are called dissolved solute particles. Some sodium chloride molecules will be present as such. It is not dissociated. Okay. So there will be an equilibrium. Equilibrium can be attained in this solution also. Equilibrium will be attained between undissociated solute and dissolved solute particles. Okay. So in this condition, we apply Le Chatelier's principle as we studied in physical and chemical equilibrium lesson. Once equilibrium is attained, it will be disturbed by external factors. So if there is any disturbance in the equilibrium, it will be shifted towards any one side to nullify the effect. Okay. So externally we disturbances in the equilibrium by increasing the temperature or pressure or concentration and so on. Equilibrium will be shifted towards any one side, forward side or reverse side. This will be the general phenomenon, and this was proposed by Le Chatelier. Okay. So consider solution. In solution also there will be an equilibrium between the undissociated solute particles and the dissociated solute particles. Okay. And NaCl particle, Na plus Cl minus ion, between these two equilibrium can be attained. Once equilibrium is attained, what will be the shifting of equilibrium? Will it shift towards forward side to give the product, or will it shift towards left hand side to give the reactant? This is the question. So this is mainly based on what type of process it is. It may be an exothermic process or endothermic process. Okay. So when you take the forward process as an endothermic process, equilibrium is attained if the forward process, that means a separation of cation and anion from a neutral molecule, Na, sodium chloride is separated into Na plus and Cl minus. The forward may be an endothermic process. So when you increase the temperature, forward process will be more because it gains energy. Endothermic process absorbs heat energy, so that equilibrium will be shifted towards forward side. So all these effects we already studied in 8th lesson. Okay, you just go through or listen the previous videos. What is the effect of temperature on equilibrium? So once equilibrium is attained, in endothermic process, temperature increases, solubility will be increased. Okay, if you say forward process is an endothermic process, temperature increases, forward process will be favored. Okay, solubility will be increased. Reverse process may be an exothermic process. For exothermic process, it already liberates energy, so it won't gain the energy again. So for endothermic process, temperature increases, solubility increases. For exothermic process, temperature increases, solubility decreases. Okay, so here a graph is given. It is drawn between the solubility and the temperature. In the x-axis we have temperature, y-axis solubility. Different salts have taken: ammonium nitrate, calcium chloride, sodium chloride, and ceric sulfate nanohydrate. So what is the variation of solubility of these salts with the temperature? First one we take sodium chloride. Okay. Take sodium chloride. There is no much variation in the solubility when temperature increases. Temperature increases from 0 to 100 degrees Celsius. There is no much appreciable increase of solubility. So maximum 10% solubility will be increased for sodium chloride. Okay. Because it reaches maximum solubility at ordinary temperature. Then for ammonium nitrate, you take ammonium nitrate. The dissolution of ammonium nitrate, that means when ammonium nitrate, a salt, is added in water, the process will be an endothermic. When temperature increases, solubility will be increased. Okay, forward side will be favored. Then ceric sulfate nanohydrate, the process will be an exothermic process. Okay, dissolution of ceric sulfate nanohydrate, the process will be an exothermic. So temperature increases, solubility decreases. So you can observe that from 40 degree Celsius onwards, gradually solubility decreases because of exothermic process. And calcium chloride is an exception one. Dissolution of calcium chloride is an endothermic process. Okay, this is an exception case. So dissolution of calcium chloride, you take this one, sorry, exothermic process. Solubility has to decrease with increase of temperature, but this is an exception one. Okay, for exothermic process, solubility has to decrease with increase of temperature, but this is not happening in the case of calcium chloride. The main reason is entropy changes. Okay, so the entropy factor is playing a major role in this one. So many factors affect solubility. We have completed two factors. One is nature of a solute into solvent, another one is temperature. Okay, so with this we conclude today's class. Remaining things can be discussed tomorrow. Thank you.